Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. When we come across Tamil Nadu, formerly it was ruled by the famous kings like Pallava, Chola, Chera, etc. Among them, Chola kings were the famous rulers. They maintained the administration in perfect manner. They were sacrificed their most of the time in constructing various monuments, temples, etc. Among those temples, we can say Rajaraja Chola's Brihadishwara temple. Even his son built Gangaikonda Cholan temple. As father did, son also followed the same. He built the same like Brihadishwara temple in Gangaikonda Cholan. When we come across these and all, especially Chola kings were very particular in constructing temples, especially Lord Shiva. If you see Brihadishwara temple, it is world famous temple. The construction we can wonder if we see there indirectly. Each and every step they have taken much care. Nowhere they used iron, nowhere used cement, only the hill rocks they used. Even the tower of Brihadishwara temple is 70 to 80 tons. How they placed on the top without having like this of technology what we have nowadays. These and all wonder. Among such Chola kings, we can appreciate the administration of Karikala Chola, whom we have to regard as one of the famous king who built his dam, Karikala Dam. Very, very beautiful manner. Even so many years, around nearly hundreds of years back it was constructed. Even now if you go there, you can see the beautiful anecut. Nowhere we can find such a construction which had taken much care and used all the materials of the costly one. It is wonderful construction made by Karikala Chola. He was a famous king in Chola dynasty. Though he was a king, as kings are invading the other regions, other small kingdoms, he also did it the same. Wherever he goes, he earned a lot of fame and name. His early life was very beautiful and he had impressed much of his people. He also had military conquests at Battle of Veni. That is a famous battle, especially in southern part of Tamil Nadu. There are other wars and conquests where we can see Karikala Chola was victorious king. So many legends. Northern conquest also followed by Karikala Chola. He also raising the banks of Kawari river. He saved it, the water, without mingling in the ocean. Whenever we come across to his personal life, it is a beautiful one. We cannot comment anything regarding Karikala Chola. Even at the time of difficulties in claiming his right to the throne, he was never taken back of his step, even a single one, because he always followed right path, that is righteous path. He sticked on to Dharma. If you Kalani Dam, that is what he built, it's one of the grand anecut. We cannot forget the Kalani Dam. It is one of the memorable anecut of Karikala Chola, even hundred of years past. But even now, if we see these Anicut, it looks like modern one. So today I took the topic of King Karikala Chola. Let us go through in detail. Prayer. Lokanatham Sahasraksham Adbhutam Paramam Padam Bhagavantam Prapannosmi Bhutabhavya Bhavat Prabhum. The King Karikala Chola, the greatest among the early Chola kings of the Sangam age in South India, had been the son of Urayur, Ilamchet Chenni, and ruled around 120 BC. He had been known by the epithets Karikala Peruvadattan and Tirumavalan. Karikala led the Chola Empire successfully in campaigns to unify the three Dravidian kingdoms. His name meant the man with charred leg, an injury he received during to fight to escape capture from a scheming competitor for his throne. He had earned praise for the beauty of his war chariots. In the Battle of Vinni, Karikala crushed the Pandyans and Chera forces, leading to the unifying of the three kingdoms into one under Karikala's rule. That means he conquered Pandyas and also Cheras, including Chola. Three was maintained by Karikala Chola. See how he is a great emperor also, no? His legendary campaign into northern India may have been royal hype, since no records exist of this campaign. In any case, his skill as a commander-in-chief had been acclaimed. Karikala's Chola general great wealth in trade with the Roman Empire. They had the relationship with the Roman empires. He used that wealth to fund his military campaigns and to build his cities. He is reputed to have decorated the capital city of Kanchipuram with gold. He earned lasting fame by building dikes along the banks of Kawari river. He built Grand Anicut, the oldest dam in the world, and irrigation canals as well as tanks. His innovations and also the projects with irrigation greatly aiding agriculture in his kingdom. He left a legacy as an able and just king, promoting commerce and administering justice. He appears to have been sincerely mourned by the people of Chola at his death. Let us find out the sources. The story of Karikala mixes legend and anecdotal information gleaned from Sangam literature. Karikala has left history no authentic records of his reign. The numerous mentions in Sangam poetry constituted the only sources available to us. The extant literature of the Sangam has been difficult to date with any measure of certainty, leaving the time period in question. Pattinapalai, Poru Naratrupadai, and a number of individual poems in Akananuru and Purananuru have been the main source for the information attributed to Karikala. Let us find out his early life, how he lived and also led his life in early stage. Karikala, the son of Ilamasetsenni, had been distinguished for the beauty of his numerous war chariots. The name Karikalan means the man with the charred leg and perpetuates the memory of fire accident in the early his life. Porunaratruppaidai describes the legend of the incident as follows. The king of Urayur, Ilan Setseni, married a Velir princess from Ajundur, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Karikala. Ilan Setseni died soon after, giving birth to Karikala. Due to his age, Karikala's right to throne was overlooked, and there was a political turmoil in the country. Karikala was exiled. When normality returned, the Chola minister sent a state elephant to look for the prince. The elephant found the prince hiding in Karur. His political opponents arrested and imprisoned him. The prison was set on fire that night. Karikala escaped the fire and, with the help of his uncle Irumpidar Talayan, defeated his enemies. Karikala's leg was scorched in the fire, and from thence Karikala became his name. Karikal, black leg, because of consumed the leg in the fire and blackened in color. So blackened leg Chola. Pattinapalai, written in praise of Karikala, also describes the incident as follows. Like the tiger cub with its sharp claws and its curved stripes growing strong within this case, his strength came to the maturity while he was in the bondage of his enemies. As a target trunked elephant pulls down the banks of the pit, even so, after deep and careful consideration, he drew his sword, effected his escape by overpowering the strong god, and attained his glorious heritage in due course. Let us find out his military conquests at the time of Battle of Veni. According to Porunaratrupadai, Karikala Chola fought a great battle at Veni near Tanjavur, in which both Pandya and Chera suffered crushing defeats. Although very little is known about the circumstances leading to that battle, it marked the turning point in Karikala's career. The battle breaking back of powerful confederacy formed against him. Besides the two crowned kings of Pandya and Chera countries, 11 minor chieftains took their side in the campaign and shared defeat at the hands of Karikala. The Chola king Karikala, wounded on his back in the battle, committed suicide by starvation. Veni proved the watershed in the career of Karikala, which established him firmly on his throne and secured for him virtual hegemony among the three crowned monarchs. Even he had other wars and conquests. After the Battle of Veni, Karikala had other opportunities to exercise his arms. He defeated the confederacy of 9 minor chieftains in the Battle of Vakai Paranar, a contemporary of Karikala, in his poem from Agananuru, mentions that incident without giving any information on the cause of the conflict. Pattinappalai also describes the destruction caused by Karikala's armies in the territories after his enemies, and adds that as a result of those conflicts, the northerns and westerns were depressed, and his flushed look of anger caused the Pandya's strength gave away. Evidence showing that Karikala's conquests extended beyond the land of the Kawari has been missing. Legends, Northern Conquest. Let us go through this detail. Since ancient times, Karikala became the subject of many myths, which in modern times have often been accepted as serious history. Silappadigaram which attributes northern campaigns and conquests to all the three monarchs of Tamil country, gives a glorious account of the northern expeditions of Karikala, which took him as far north as the Himalayas and gained for him the alliance and subjugation of the kings of Vajra, Magadha, and Avanti countries. No contemporary evidence, either in Sangam literature or from the North Indian source, supports such an expedition taking place. Let us find out the raising the banks of Kawari. Kallanai built by Karikalan, a Chola king. The image also shows 19th century additions to the ancient dam. Later, Chola kings referred to Karikala Chola as a great ancestor and attributed him with the building of dikes along the banks of the Kaveri river. The raising of the banks of the river Kaveri by Karikala Chola seems to be first mentioned by the Melapadu plates of Punya Kumara, a Telugu Chola king of the 7th or I think 8th century AD. Let us find out his personal life and also the death. Evidence exists in Purananuru for Karikala's faith in then embryonic Vedic Hinduism in the Tamil Nadu. Purananuru movingly expresses his faith and the grief caused by his passing away. He who stormed his enemies' forts undauntedly, who feasted his minstrels and their families and treated them to endless draughts of toddy, who in the assembly of Brahmins noted for their knowledge of dharma and purity of life, guided by priests, attended by his noble and virtuous queen, performed the Vedic sacrifice in which the tall sacrificial posts stood on a bird-like platform. Within the sacrificial court, surrounded by a high wall with round bastions, he, the great and wise king, alas, is no more. Poor indeed is this world, which has lost him, like the branches of the Vengi tree, which stands bare when their bright foliage has been stripped down by shepherds eager to feed their cattle in the fierce summer, or his fair queens, who have cast off their jewels. Karikala Chola was one of the greatest rulers of Chola dynasty. He was the early Chola king, ruled during the Sangam era. In Tamil Nadu, especially in south, we can find the Sangam dynasty. We can find the ancient literature called Sangam literature. It is very, very, very beautiful, especially from Tanjavur. He was also known by names such as Karikala Peruvalathan and Tirumavalan. The dating of his reign has yet to be clarified, as no clear proofs are available. Most agreed date is 190 AD. He succeeded his father Ilam Setseni as the second known ruler of the Chola Empire. The Chola Empire emerged as a supreme power in the entire South India, leaving behind the Pandya kings and Chera kings, which were very powerful before his rule. Let us see how he managed to be on top of the Pandyas and Cheras. Difficulties in claiming his right to the throne. That is one of the most important incident in his life. Although there are a lot of historical proofs and poems of Sangam literature available to prove the existence of Karikala Chola, There are a lot of mythological stories associated with the life of the king. So the information available about Karikala Chola is mixed with legend and anecdotal information gleaned from Sangam literature. The main sources of Chola are Pattinappallai, Porunarupattai, and a number of individual poems in the Akkananur and Purananur. According to these proofs, the meaning of Karikala Chola means the man with charred legs. His father, Iranset Senni, died when he was very young. Due to his young age, Karikala's right to the throne was overlooked. Evil eyes fell on the throne, and there was a political turmoil in the country. So his enemies captured Karikala and imprisoned him. They also set prison on fire so that Karikala would die. His enemies declared that he was dead, but he escaped from the fire and that caused his feet to burn. His feet turned black because of burns. So he was called Karikala. With the help of his uncle Irumpitar Talayan, he defeated his enemies and captured the throne. That is guts what Karikala possessed. He married a princess of Velir from a palace called Nangur. He had several wives. The Karikala Chola somehow managed to capture the throne by that time and faced the powerful confederacy formed, which include Chera, Pandya, and 11 minor empires. This battle was called Battle of Venni. It was fought at a place called Venni, modern Kovil Venni near Tanjavur. Even now we can see it. As Karikala Chola was new to rule, the opposition underestimated his abilities. He gave a shock to the opponents and won the battle, defeating all of them. This was one of the greatest moments in history of India, where a king facing powerful allied forces stood victorious. There can be no doubt that it marked the turning point in Karikala's career. Due to this defeat, the Chera rulers Uthiyan, Cheralathan committed suicide. Karikala Chola and Chola Empire became supreme power in the entire South India with that win. Let us find out his beautiful construction, grand anecdote, Kalani Dam. After the Battle of Venni, Karikala fought other battles. He defeated confederacy of 9 minor chieftains in the battle, Vakai Parandalai. He was one of few Tamil kings who occupied whole Ceylon. At that time, Ceylon was being ruled by Simhali's kingdom. He defeated Simhalis, and after that battle, he decided to build an anekat along the banks of Kawari river. He used Simhali's war prisoners to build anekat. He couldn't leave anyone. They are used to carry massive blocks of rocks from mountains to the bank of river Kaveri. The grand anekat is now known as Kalani Dam, which is an ancient dam which was built across the Kaveri river, especially in Trichy district, in the state of Tamil Nadu. It is considered as one of the oldest water diversion or water regulator structures in the world, which is still in use. Karikala Chola was remembered forever for his efforts to divert water from rivers to agricultural fields for irrigation purpose. This dam is 329 meters high and 20 meters wide. The beautiful Akampareswara Swami temple is in the heart of Kanchipuram. At its entrance, the statue of King Karikalan welcomes you. Why is it here? Because, according to one legend, Karikalan built this temple. We do not know if the legend is true, but we do know that he was a swashbuckling hero and a master builder. No one knows the precise dates, but we guess from ancient Tamil literature known as Sangam literature that he lived around 1st or 2nd century. His father, Ilaset Seni, was a powerful ruler of the Chola kingdom. He was assassinated while Karikalan was still a young boy. So Karikalan could not ascend the throne immediately. Just to make sure that he never staked his claim to the throne. His rival clansmen tried to kill him too, but Karikalan was smart enough to escape their clutches. He lived incognito as a Vedic scholar, secretly training with his uncle to fight back. Unfortunately, the rival clansmen tracked him down and placed him under house arrest. And in the night, they set fire to the house. But the maverick prince managed to escape in the melee. The fire injuries left a permanent black scar on his leg. That is how he earned the title Karikalan, or one with the charred leg. Karikalan returned with a vengeance, killed the usurpers, and rightfully ascended the throne. The neighboring kings of Pandya and Chera kingdoms now sensed the opportunity. A novice king, already weakened by internal rivalries, was easy pickings. They formed a military alliance and attacked the Chola kingdom. According to contemporary literature, Karikalan then conquered Sri Lanka and also sent a successful military expedition to the Himalayas. The first Tamil king to do so, so he should feel very proud. Did that really happen, or did Karikala's court poets embellish facts with a flourish? We are not sure, but he left one unquestionable legacy that has stood the test of time till date. In those days, the mighty Kawari river gushed unharnessed from the western mountain ranges with untamable force. Near Tanjavur, Karikalan built a dam made of gigantic stones across the turgid river called Kalani, meaning stone dam. It is 329 meters long and 20 meters wide. This dam changed the economy of Chola kingdom forever. It irrigated about 1 million acres, converting it to the rice bowl of the south. It is one of the world's most ancient irrigation projects. Nearly 1700 years later, when the British built another dam across the neighboring river Kalani, they took Karikalan's dam as their inspiration. As the Chara started to leave the battlefield, the moral of the Pandya and Velirs dropped. Karikala knew the opportunity had come and pushed on his offensive. The enemy troops scattered into pieces. Karikala captured thousands of prisoners of war and used them to construct the Kalani Dam. The dam is considered a marvel and is still in operation without any damage after around 2000 years. Karikala Cholan descendants established the Chola Empire as a dominant force in Southeast Asia with Raja Cholan and Rajendra Cholan. They captured Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and many other foreign territories. There were 3 Karikala Chola in the Chola history. Perunkilli Vendi, Karikalan I of 2nd century BC, he ruled from Ayundarvel and Kudavail War of Venni and Vagai Parandalai was during his period. Charan Perun Cheralathan starved himself to death by concept of Vadakirun, that because of arrow that penetrated his back in that war that was shooted by Karikala Cholan. It was he who became king even when in his mother's womb, because his father Ilamset Seni was killed treacherously by Irungovel, hence was called as a born king. Karikalan too, who built Kalani Dam, and he who conquered countries up to Himalayas and planted tiger flag in Himalayas and returned back victorious as mentioned in Silapatikaram. Aditya Karukala Cholan third was elder brother of famous Raja Raja Cholan. This is the brief history of Karikala Chola, who inspired through his activities, through his triumphs, through his building Kalani Dam with beautiful manner. Even after 2000 years, it looks like a new dam. Let us give him salutations. Shri Kantai Kalyana Nide Nide Dram Shri Venkatanivasaaya Srinivasaya Mangalam Mangalasasana Prayamadacharya Purogamaihi Sarvesha Purvairacharya Satkrutāya Stu Mangalam.